And we are live on Facebook.
Yay.
Awesome. Yay. So it's still sort of calibrating, allowing us to view our audience and such. But uh, welcome everybody. If you're able to join us and hang out, I am here with Maribeth Decker. I am Dahlia of Crystal Cognizance. So if you are seeing this live, it is through our Crystal Cognizance page. We are a little shop, a little crystal shop out in Woodbridge, Virginia. I'm going to assume if you're seeing this, you've also liked our page. And if you haven't, please do.
Yeah.
um, but we thought we'd hop on here today for a quick conversation just about what Mary Beth does. She's an animal communicator that we've had come out and teach classes as well as hold circles, message circles. And so I thought it would be awesome to have Mary Beth kind of tell us a little bit about her and her goings on, as well as we're going to do a little guided meditation. But before we get to that, I want Mary Beth to kind of introduce herself and uh, tell us about herself. So go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for doing this, Dahlia. This is
Yes.
wonderful. So I'm an intuitive animal communicator. That's a code word for telepathy. Um, I like intuitive. It's feels right to me. I have an ability to connect telepathically with animals, and I I found my, I would say, calling or niche is to work with people and their pets, because I see it almost, I see it as a family relationship. People come to me uh, as, as asking, why are they doing this thing they do? Or they look sad, or why can't you, or how are they feeling physically? Or are they ready to transition? And you can get a lot of peace out of you being the person who's the guardian, the animal, get a lot of peace about hearing what's going on and having a conversation with them. And then I just delight in facilitating that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
What a beautiful calling to have. Uh, and so in connecting with animals, I think that this meditation, this grounding meditation, inspired by you, is a great idea because we need to be centered, we need to be grounded in order to connect with our pets, to be able to really be present for them. And, you know, animals and the earth go hand in hand. I mean, so why don't we give this like a quick little grounding meditation and get some breathing, set intention, and then we'll finish our talk. Does that sound
That
good?
sounds great. I've got to say, I asked for this. And I've learned that if I'm feeling it, somebody else is.
Okay,
You're just
yeah,
feeling like it's a little hard to focus. So
right.
thank you.
Well, and so if anybody wants to join in on this quick little meditation, you're welcome to. I do want to say, as a quick aside, if you want to pop in for questions or anything like that, you will need to probably join live on the Crystal Cognizance page. So I have shared this on my page, and with that in mind, you'll want to click the um, the business page and join us live there. So otherwise, we may not see your comments. I'll do my best, though. I'm not a tech wizard. So, with all that said, go ahead and get yourself seated comfortably. And, if you can eliminate or minimize distractions in this moment, that's great. But sometimes distractions become a way for us to deepen our experience. So don't get aggravated with the kids or the pets. Maybe the pets feel Mary Beth's presence here. So, whatever is the case, wherever you are, take a moment to get centered, grounded, relax, and to bring balance to the body and balance to the mind. Let us begin to breathe deeply in and out, focusing through the nose, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, breathing in, breathing out, again in and out. Begin to lengthen that breath. So draw in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Drawing that breath in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in and out. Continuing to breathe on your own at your own pace in a way that is comfortable for you in this moment. And as you breathe, as you begin to relax with every breath drawing you deeper and deeper into this present moment, I'd like you all to begin to travel inward. Begin that process of deepening your experience within. So behind your eyelids and within your mind's eye, begin to sink backwards, drifting deeper and deeper into your center, into your core. Find yourself in that heart-centered space, drifting back further, deeper still, until at last you find yourself settled at the center of your being. Now within this space, begin to visualize, begin to create around you, imagine a beautiful stream next to a forested area. And as you see these woods around you, as you can hear the gentle stream trickling past you, see and feel that stream flowing gently to your right. And as you visualize the water trickling past you, allow your feet to be gently placed within the stream. If you cannot see, feel. If you cannot feel, imagine the last time your feet ran through trickling water, through a riverbed. And as you feel your feet within the water, feel that cooling sensation pulling gently to the right. Allow the water to pull from your feet at this time any unstable energies. Allow the water to pull any density, any negativity, draining that from the bottoms of your feet through your feet. See and feel the release through your feet, running through the stream like black soot, black dirt. And now, continuing the process of release down through your being, begin to allow any existing thought forms, anything that no longer resonates with you in this moment, anything that was said, Anything that you feel, allow that to continue its process of draining out through your feet. Release and let go. Release and let go. Release and let go. And as that water continues to trickle over your feet, begin to bring your awareness up from your feet back to the center of your being, and begin to consider in this moment any pets that you may have, both in spirit, any pets that you may have around you in your home. Expand that awareness to the energies of any animals that may exist just outside your home, and begin to invite their presence, their loving energies, any messages that they may have. Allow those to draw closer to you, to surround you with loving protection, and invite any of their energetic assistance. Allow any of their strengths that they wish to share. Allow those to surround you in this moment. And while your feet remain within the stream, gently breathe deeper in this moment, breathing in and out through the mouth. Another deep breath in and out through the mouth. And allow yourself to begin to come back into this present moment so that we can begin our conversation. Opening your eyes when you feel ready. Welcome back. A
Very
quick little trip
Thank you.
just to get us grounded and centered. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, I always know when something good's happening. I've got my dog T-Bar down here, and
Yeah.
sort of at the end, I hear this big, and I go, my
From
dog,
him?
we're good.
All right, all right. So we are centered and grounded. So if you've just joined us, thank you. That was just a quick little meditation to get us connected, to get us centered. Once again, we are joined here by Maribeth Decker. She is our animal communicator. So if you have pets, if you don't, if you've had them in spirit, Maribeth is awesome. And so if you'd like, you can go back and listen to the meditation. Unfortunately, it's not sort of segmented, so you have to turn it off, but it's just a quick little way to get us all jazzed up. So with that in mind, I want to say I always love talking to Maribeth because one thing that I have learned over the years about some of the best intuitives, the best psychics, the best mediums, is and the best healers too, is that there is a centered and grounded approach that they have to things with a spin of fun, but that centered piece is focused on the heart. So I've had, I don't know about you, I'd love to hear your experience, Mary Beth. With one of my students, we were having a conversation because with everything that's happened, we've all had a chance to go in, and some of us are still taking that journey inward. I know I am. And so we were talking, and she was like, I'm really starting to hear my animals a lot during all of this stuff that's going on. And I was like, it's because this is a time to really get into that heart space. And um, telepathy, which you mentioned in the beginning, telepathy doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the heart. And most people think, oh, telepathic third eye, that is a heart chakra gift. And so it's interesting to me, the connection, earlier on in learning about all of these things and interacting with different people with different gifts. I was like, you make assumptions about people and how they do things. But I found that people that sort of shared a resonance with me and myself, the more heart-centered I got. And that's not to say more loving or more this or more that, because you can be a very loving person and not heart-centered at all. Which we all know those people. Well intended, but maybe not, it's not from the place that you think it is.
Yeah.
So all that to say, the more heart-centered that I got, and in some of the more loving experiences that I've had, the telepathy just would be off the charts with my animals, with partners, with people that I loved. And I was like, wow, what a beautiful gift. And so what is your experience with telepathy? Because we know that's key in, because animals don't speak English all the time out of their mouth.
Only on Facebook when you get those little guys going fake.
Oh, right. The little
yeah,
meme
that doesn't
stuff.
count, right? So what is my experience? Oh, that's really good. Talking about the heart-centered. I do, so I use the words mind to mind, but I think you're absolutely right that it's really heart to heart. And my experience, well, it's actually, I had the best experience ever. After I became a Reiki master, my dog started communicating with me. It's not like Maribeth said, I said, oh, I think it's time for me to. No, I just was having experiences that I'd never had before. And I would assume that that was something that was an opening of the heart, and my dogs are very dear to me. So dear. And it was just an awakening of the heart that I wasn't expecting, and it was what a gift. And so I do think in this time, this crazy time between American activities to the max, and now it's not, that we have space to listen to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I had one time a picture about animal communication, and sometimes you get something from your animal, and it's like a dandelion seed on the wind. If you aren't paying attention, baby, that's gone.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right?
I think there is a huge misconception with the way that intuitive information comes in. People think it just kind of sits there and it's waiting for you to grab it. And it's like, no, this stuff is happening. Like you can't, if you missed it, bye, on to the next bit of information. And you're like, I'm sure this happens to you as you're delivering messages, or maybe you can tell me if it does. I don't, because everybody's experience is different. But when I'm in the zone and I'm giving a message to somebody, I'm like, bam, 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 bam. Because if I stop and think about it, then it starts to dissipate. Yeah. And then the person will go, what did you say? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, you didn't catch that either. Hold on, here's the gist. I have had situations where I've known that a conversation was going to be intense, and I just recorded myself. I was like, forget it. I need to go ahead and push the record button, because I am not going to remember anything after the fact. What has your experience been with that in terms of delivering messages to people?
I found that moving into that zone is where the good stuff shows up. Mm-hmm. And I got to let go of the fact that this preconceived notion that I'm going to be a perfect memory for them afterwards too. Some of it I remember, but some of it's not. And I've also learned that you go with what you hear first, because that's it. And damned if your logical mind could just go with what you heard first.
Right.
That the person will figure it out, but here's what I got.
As your logical mind goes, what did you just say? And you're like, oh God.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there is that, and I'm learning to trust and share out of that. Also because I have a background in dream analysis, dream
Oh,
work, dream
nice.
analysis, yeah, since the mid 90s, I get a lot of symbology, and it's
Mhm.
very helpful for me. I mean, I'll remember a relationship with my with kids, or I'll go, what does that tell me about this situation? And it'll go, oh, here's what's going on in this animal's mind. Not making them a kid, but the lesson is in the memory.
Right.
Or I'll
Well,
see an animal come in. I like to picture that it's fun for me. Walking into my office and how they show up tells me what they think of themselves. And I'll see animals. I mean, I've seen them bouncing off walls, and I say, well, here's an ADD guy if I've ever seen one. Or somebody else comes in as a ballerina, and
right.
share that. And, it's just a lot of fun.
Well, and I have a little bit of animal communication in my background too, but I think that I always like to leave the flavor of what's being done to people who focus on that, right? Like, so you're a medium, I'm a medium, and those things will show up in the work that we do, but neither you nor I will advertise our mediumistic capabilities, because like your focus is like the healing and the pet work, and mine is doing the healing work on the individual. I'm trying to guide them through the process, right?
Yeah.
But I've had situations where a cat at somebody's home walks up to me, and they walk up and it's like they show up like a tiger, and you're like, wait a minute. And they're like, yeah, this is who I am. And
Yeah.
you're like, do you know that you're only 2 feet off the ground? Like, I'm not scared of you. And they're like, well, you better be, because in another life I was a tiger and I could
I've
take you
had that.
out.
And they're
It's
really
like,
having problems with this new body. I was like,
right, right. Why does she keep picking me up? Don't place me anywhere. But I think that's the fun of it. And so when animals communicate, you said you get messages symbolically, and we tend to conceptualize the animal experience. Like, if you've had pets, you look at their face and something pops into your mind, and you know what's going
yeah,
on, and
that,
that's the symbolic moment, right? Is that
that
what you're
is it.
talking about?
That's it. I say to people, if you ever said the phrase, if my dog could talk, if my cat could talk, I think they just said, you just had a telepathic moment.
Yep.
You
Yep.
heard it, and your intellectual mind is saying, oh, it's not possible. Well, it
So
is.
my but in preparing for this live, I thought I would kind of sweet talk my bird. And because in my experience with birds, I just think that they sit around talking shit all day. Like, they're just like, whatever. They're the mean girls in the corner making fun of the human beings that are like, oh, do, who's a pretty bird? And they're like, duh, I am, what's your point? So I was like, well, let me see if we can get her in a good space. But her nails were horrible. So this is how I offended her. I clipped her nails, and then I tried to butter her up by putting her in the shower, which is her favorite place. And the attitude that I got back, and I was like, so we're not doing this today, huh? And she just kind of looked at me like, what do you think? so, so it was very funny. That's why she's not here. I was fully gonna be like, yeah, Maribeth, this is Chloe, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think
I
she
think
just
it's,
trash
yeah,
talked the whole
yeah.
time. So
You have not earned that right now.
no, no. And I think this is a good time to plug, because we have some people kind of coming and going.
Yeah.
If you have questions for Mary Beth, or questions about the process of animal communication, I think this is a great opportunity. You want to type that in the comments, because we cannot hear
I
you.
can. Yeah, I
Just
don't
like
see
the
that.
animals, we need to communicate in different ways. So also, so I've known you probably about, I think we're going on 2 years.
Yeah,
I met you at Pathways Holistic Fair,
that was
which
fun.
is its own little special place, and lots of energy there.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think I never asked you, like, how long have you been doing animal communication?
Well, if I'm going to include the fact, I'm going to start at the beginning when they started connecting with me. So I think I'm guessing there's somewhere around 2007, 2008.
Wow.
So yeah. And I thought, well, shouldn't I have been doing this since I came out of the womb? Isn't that what real, you know? Uh, but I had a few other things I needed to do. That's my sense. And the other thing is that I'm a testament to saying you this is a skill. It's a gift, but it's also a skill that people's heart-centered people can tap into. You
Yeah.
don't have to be that wonderful person who says, I've been communicating with jaguars since I was 3 years old. And I believe them. I know them. I know it's a true story. I have a different one. And I think it's a good one too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you can really start to gain a sense of um what's happening, because synchronistic moments will happen. So we just had one and you didn't even realize. Um Jaguar is one of my spirit animals,
Oh.
and I am wearing one of my Jaguar talismans right now. Um
Oh.
and you were like, oh yeah, communicating with jaguars, and I was like, no, no fucking way.
Oh my God.
So yeah, isn't
I
that
love that
awesome?
it came up. All right.
And then I love that you said this is a skill, a gift and a skill, because I think that's another misconception. Like, there are those people out there that, were hit with the thunderbolt of their gift at birth. And I will say most of the time, if you talk to those people, it was an incredible burden, unless they had
Oh, you're
the
right.
beautiful opportunity of being able to grow up in an indigenous space where they were supported. um I think we were all sort of, the term is awake, right? So we all had that and we played in it, and then life got real, and it was, oh, too much about the neighbors and your parents told you to quiet down, and then the church was like, hey, we don't approve of that here. But I think that, like you said, it's, even if you're born with it, it is a skill to develop. I mean, you
Mhm.
know, we're born not walking, and yet it is something inherent to us, right? Like,
Right.
if you are free of inhibitions that would cause you not to walk, obviously, like,
Mhm.
if you are a born human being and it is, you have the ability to walk, you will. If you are a born human being that has the ability to communicate with animals, whether you take the communication class or don't, you will start talking to animals, or they'll start talking to you and you'll be like, la 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 for the first little bit.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. I love that you said that. And this, like I said, it's one of the things that I love about you is your authenticity about all this, and the comfort that you bring to animal communication. There will be people out there who, because it is a skill, that they can just do it. I mean, it's like, anybody can be
Think of the
not to,
Mozart,
yeah,
Mozart, or anybody who just like at the age of 3 writes a beautiful song we're still listening today. Oh,
absolutely,
yeah, it's
absolutely. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you will have um the certain, there are underlying things that you need, right, for this animal communication
I
process.
think
And you
so.
bring such a heartfelt experience. That's what I mean by heart centered, and how good you are at what you do, is that animals know. I have been in situations where, like I said, I can communicate with animals, but it's not my go-to. It's not my thing. And I recognize in both animals and children that you'll run into some that just don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And it might be that they're not comfortable with you, or it might be that they just don't yet feel comfortable. And I wonder, how often in your experience do you come across that, and how do you deal with it?
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to go back to something earlier first.
Oh, sure.
So for the other thing that I did that I think I am proud of is I got some training from
Oh,
people.
nice.
And I did a lot of work honing my skills, learning a lot of stuff. So I mean, years of working on just being the best animal communicator I can be. So I'm proud of that. Mostly animals will talk to me. I do have an ethical rule that if they're in a family, I got to have permission from their people. It'd be like walking up to somebody's kid and without asking their parents, offering them the lollipop or
Oh,
what you're.
as a parent, I hate that.
Oh no, no, no. So I mean, so I that's my first thing is I get the and then the animal. I, almost everybody is willing to talk to me. My funnest example when I was in training was I was talking to a dog and I said, I'd really like to talk to him. And he's like this. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I sit there. I said, "Well, I'm not going anywhere. Maybe you'd like to change your mind." And he says, "Okay, what do you want to talk about?" So he was cute. Uh, the tougher things I have found is when I offer healing, and the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no because they've got their own. This is usually somebody who's close to letting go, and
Okay.
I believe that they have their own
Like they've
path
made their
charted.
decision.
They have, um, and so they're like, no, no. I mean, and it's almost good because then I'm not setting the people up for that they're going to be there longer. It's so sometimes
Right.
I get no's about the healing, and I just step back and say, okay, you know better than me.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom of the animal. And, so we had this conversation before, and I recently had it again. And I think that live post is somewhere in the Facebook ethers. Um, so we talked about this sort of progression of you as a soul, right? So in different belief systems and reincarnation and karma and all of those things, if you do something bad as a person, you maybe come back as something less than a person to make amends, right? So the traditional belief being maybe you come back as a worm and your life is more of a struggle because you don't have arms, like everything wants to eat you. That's kind of what's going on. And I was like, but wait, maybe human beings are the bottom of the food chain. Like you did a bunch of stuff and it's like now you have to come back as flesh and blood human being because now you have to fight for causes. You have to stand up for that which you oppressed before, or, whatever it is that you cause burden to is now going to tax you. So maybe for me, I did something to spiders and that's why they're everywhere. Like I can't outrun them. You know what I mean? I mean, I must, and I know I'm being facetious. I am,
And yet,
they're they are symbols of good luck and the web of life and all those wonderful things.
yeah.
But I have had conversations with them where I'm like, leave me alone. I don't want anything to take your message and go.
And they're
But
saying, get the message and move.
right. You haven't gotten
Right?
it yet. We still need to come.
Yeah.
So all that to say, you
Oh,
know, I think that the animals that you were talking about that sort of are like, no, I don't want healing right now because it's my time. Again, that's such wisdom. And I mean, it's hard. Losing an animal is never an easy thing, right? But they're like, hey, I know my family wants me to continue, but it's my time to go. And then you come in and you offer that bridge of communication, which is awesome. I know probably not always well received, but
Well, I not always.
because
Really attached to they're really attached to their of course their animal staying in their physical body.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not an exception, but I have heard animals say less is more. So they were using all kinds of wonderful um, alternative therapies on this. This is a dog, and the dog was saying, just kind of leave me alone, and that was
mm-hmm.
hard for them to hear. They they weren't a family that leaves it alone.
Yeah, and we have some connection to how much we care, right? Like if
Yeah,
I don't do everything that I can, how will they know that I care? So I'm sure that's hard too.
it is. And what I found, if for those leave me alone, for those people who just can't let it go, is animal, because I work with animals up to, during, and after transition.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't hold grudges. Because this is my understanding is they know that you, okay, two things. One, if they come into your family, they have like signed a power of attorney that says your job to take care of me. I give it to you.
Yeah.
And then second, they know that you've made your decisions out of love. And the people I work with do that. I don't, people don't come to an animal communicator who hates their animals. They
Right.
may be frustrated, but they, so the animals get that at some level.
Right.
They
But
don't have a,
this again speaks to that sort of that evolutionary ladder that I was talking about, because
yeah.
from a spiritual perspective, you can have the essence of anger, frustration. It can take on its own embodiment after a soul leaves this place. So this is what hauntings are.
Yes.
And I have not, maybe you have, I have not heard of an instance where a deceased dog haunted a place in a negative way.
Oh,
You
and I
might
agree
find
that.
that animal spirits are around, but it's almost like um, the thought forms and the anger, the sadness, the all these things that we can create that can take on a life of their own and sort of haunt your house. Animals don't do that. And then it goes further, right? Like, so animals, plants, all those things, they don't do that. We do. That's why I think we're at the bottom of the totem pole. Because we got to learn to create harmony,
Yeah, we do.
and we're here to do that,
We do.
right?
I have had some, well, I what I I always wonder the what animals who die in a difficult way,
Mm.
there might be some residual there.
Okay,
Okay.
interesting.
I was connected. An animal kind of reached out to me, and I think he had aggressive issues, biting, and we thought his family was going to continue the training, and I'd worked with him emotionally, and I think they were putting him down, and he wasn't expecting it, and he was in a world of hurt. He was like having anxiety, as you can get, if you can imagine.
So, are you saying, just real quick, are you saying you could feel the
I
anxiety of
did.
his
I was in a
spirit?
Safeway. I was sitting in this at Safeway, ready to go in and buy stuff, and I was having an anxiety attack, and I don't have those. And I'm like, who
Mm.
is that? And I figured out it was the dog. So I worked with his energy. I had some help, uh, and we worked with his energy to help him through the transition. And I think he was okay. But I
Okay.
wonder what that would have been without. I do sometimes think that they do have a bit of a recovery period,
Okay.
and then it moves on. But I don't think it's like, and they hold on to it.
Well, it's great that, if you don't have pets and never have, it is the level of unconditional love that can be experienced from an animal that, you know, you're having a bad day and you're just like, oh my God, leave me alone. And they're like, okay. And some will kind of wait, or they'll keep snuggling you. And you just
Yeah,
are able to let your guard down. You can tell them absolutely everything.
yeah,
And they don't go, oh my God, Jesus, Susan, like, I'm so tired of hearing all your crap. You know, they're just like, oh, really? Oh, we're sad together. Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, so
yeah.
maybe this is a candid question. Feel free to say like I can't answer, but uh do you ever like talk to animals and have them tell you like, listen, can you tell her to stop leaning on me, or, you know, sort of
Ah, it hasn't come that way.
okay.
Okay, but what it has come is, what does come is, and it's not a judgmental, it's like if you worked on yourself, your animal would be happier too. It's like this anxiety that you see in your dog or
Okay.
your cat. So maybe they have the personality of being, a little anxious. You are making it worse.
Oh, okay.
You are
So
making it worse. Would you please work on yourself?
okay. So this is a great segue into some
Yeah.
of these conditions. So animals are like little empaths. I mean, we all walk around as human empaths and we're like, "Oh my God, this is too much," or, you know,
Yeah.
all the things. And poor animals want to complain about it but can't, so they just deal, right?
Yeah, they deal. They deal. And I don't know if that's even, you talk about a higher. I haven't heard complaints. I just heard that, well, my analogy is, eh, if you're, going back to your stream, if your animal is standing in a stream and you're saying, well, don't get wet, it's not your issue. They're like, no, I'm standing in the darn stream,
Right.
man.
It's
So
happening.
it's more like, if I come in every day and you're angry and because of so and this and that, and there's this going on, that vibration, based on who they are, I'm pointing over to my dog. Will get the energy and they will react. Some will, as you said, they will move away. Some
Mhm.
will come and try to help you work it out. Um, some may it may show up in their bodies. I don't think that's all the time.
Mm.
I don't think we're the cause, but
No, certainly.
we're an influence. Our vibrations are an influence on these guys.
For sure. You know, as you were talking about, they may move away or they may get closer. I was thinking about, so I have a bird and a dog, and my dog will come no matter what. My bird, sometimes she'll look at me, she'll want to come out, and then I'll sort of reach for her and she'll change her mind instantly. And I'm like, okay, my vibe must be off, Miss Princess. Like, is that why we're shying away from me today? And then other days is like, no, I need you to pet me right now. And I'm like, dude, I'm on the phone. So
Yeah,
um they definitely sort of let you know, give you a vibe for sure.
they do.
So you teach animal communication classes,
Yeah.
which I have heard nothing but great things about from your students that
Oh,
have shared with me. And I think that it is a um, I think it's such a valuable resource, even if your intention isn't to do animal communication professionally. It is another way of communicating. When you can increase the different ways you communicate with different skills, you open yourself up to more. So more nature spirits might come into your space and have a
absolutely true.
conversation with you just because you learned to talk to your, you know, your dog, your cat, or you were just curious about animal communication. So can you tell us a little bit about some of your classes?
I have a 12, I call it a semester, a 12-week program that I do online.
Mm-hmm.
I do it in this, basically I figured out January to March works, and then September to November, just before Thanksgiving, we got to get that stuff in. We got to have our Thanksgiving. Um, and those 12 classes of all things animal communication, both the sending, the receiving, talk, and all the issues that come through. And I do a little bit of energy healing teaching. So there's that. Then I do at your place, I've done some shorter introductions to animal communication,
Mm-hmm.
just to give people a taste for it. Uh, and I do think what it does is it opens you up.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
There's it plugs in the channel that was probably already there. It amplifies what you're already getting, and you get more trust in the fact that you are receiving information from your animal, and
Nice.
we're able to send information. And I think that's really helpful. In you got a family, you've got family dynamics. When you add this animal communication into it, it just I think it helps the whole family work better. No matter whether there's 2 or 7 or whatever the number is.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for me, having pets before children made a difference in how I can perceive what's going on even with my kids, or perceive what's going on with people. So again, an invaluable skill to learn animal communication, because it transcends just that moment view, um, sort of needing to know what's wrong with your dog. There's so much application possible.
There really is. Getting a sense for how they're feeling physically,
Yeah.
that becomes open to you. Um, why they're agitated, cats, dogs, rabbits, guinea pigs, birds,
Mm-hmm.
horses, mules, miniature dog. I mean, they're all that, whoever you're dealing with, there's always a possibility of getting more information.
Absolutely.
And what I'm always looking for is an improved relationship, because that we bring these animals into our lives, and they come in, I believe, for us to have joy between us, to enjoy each other's company. And the more we can do that, yay.
So you've shared a lot of awesome things. I want to give you time and space. So I noticed that you have been doing a lot online, which is awesome under the circumstances, right? And you even have a subscription based system where people and their pets can sort of, is it receiving healing simultaneously, or can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I got, let me see. I have a group, Spiritual Pet People, and since most of us have been sheltering in place, I have been doing live healings based for various things. For us, mostly because then our animals are happier when we're happier, on Saturday mornings. I
Nice.
also have been doing, I called it the post COVID-19 postcard. Uh, where I'll do some animal communication healing for 4 weeks. And that has turned out to be really cool. I got a number of people in last month, and we're doing round 2. Uh, it's not, I don't get into medical intuition or into life stuff, but just like what's going on in the household. How can I help you, human being, and you, animals, just weather this weird situation we're in.
Right, right.
Uh, People, I think, emailing me or contacting me on Facebook if you're interested. And I do 2 circles. I do the Fur Buddy Healing Circle
Mm-hmm.
monthly, and maybe that's what you're talking about. Uh, and I've started the Fur Buddy Spirit Circle for people who want to get some closure with animals who've passed.
All right.
Okay, and it's specifically with animals. It's not a grief group. It's like you have some lingering questions, and then we spend time and do a meditation with our animals to help release them and our stuff
Nicely
as a group.
done.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I suppose, have you ever gotten, is my pet coming back? I bet you get
Oh
that question
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, I do, and it's usually a yes, and then we figure out how they're going to know.
All
It's
right.
yeah, it's how they're going to know. I don't do timing. I've had such a range in my own life of when my animals show up again, and
Mm,
they so there are a lot of them are coming into my son's and daughter's families. So, you know,
yeah.
those grandbabies used to be mine or my grandmother's or something. Grand dogs, cats.
Interesting. But those souls just want to stay with
They
you.
do. We talk about soul family now. I've come to the belief that our animals that we love are part of our soul family.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter if they were ever human or if they've just been animals the whole time. That doesn't go away. That connection
doesn't
doesn't
go
go
away.
away. And I think it's so beautiful that you offer a gift like that. So I
Mm.
want to say thank you because you've done, like I said, a couple classes and things at the shop, and I know that the people that have connected with you have been thrilled, um, and have had such a healing experience, even if that was not directly what you were doing. It is your presence that is calming and peaceful, and
Thank you.
um, I just love your passion about what you do. So, is there anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
I'm listening in.
Oh, for a
Yeah,
message.
I'm just so. I think our animals would really like us to continue to be more present to them, like we are probably being these days. Don't throw that aside when you go back to your whatever our normal life is going to be.
Oh, something I hadn't considered.
Please, if you feel that, and if you've gotten some intuition about how your presence affects them, you know, really, please work on releasing whatever it is or coming to that place of grounding again so they can have more joy in their lives with you as well. Do whatever it takes.
And it's that all of that is working together. I mean, it's good for us and them, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely.
So
All
awesome.
right.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
I
Thanks.
know we'll be doing more classes and things and upcoming different things. So I will put Mary Beth's information in the post in the comments, and so you all can reach out to her if you like. But if none of that is clear, clearly stated or what have you, or links get messed up, please reach out to us. Um, like our page, follow us, find Sacred Grove Pets on Facebook, and like that as well to keep up with Mary Beth. But we will catch you next time. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.